Good evening, everyone. It is 7 p.m., which signals the start time of our event this evening. And welcome to our event, which is Six Steps to a Better Business. Now, this is an event that we host every month as our way of providing a platform to give back uh, to business owners, to members of the public, persons who are looking for uh, education, tips that they can use when it comes to improving their business. We've been doing this now for the past 5 years, and it is part of our mandate, and we will continue to provide this seminar every month. It is usually on the third Friday of the month, and we want to make sure that we can continuously provide these golden nuggets to persons who want to understand our system and, of course, take the tips and implement them into their business. One of the reasons why we usually would keep this event on a Friday evening is generally to determine the persons who are really committed to their personal and business development versus those who would rather invest their time in some other activity. We're not in any way saying that your activities are not important, but then you'll have to make a decision with regards to your priority. You want to take the time to invest in yourself and grow your business, or do you prefer to go have a drink at one of the popular spots, whether it be at Palm Court, whether it be at the fish shop, or wherever your choice of recreation is. So it is very, very key and critical that we have persons who are really looking to invest in themselves and their business. So first of all, congrats to the persons who have taken the time out to be here this evening. You are among probably the top 5 to 10% of persons who are really looking to invest and to grow themselves. To get us started, there is a very, very vital question that I'd like to ask you as our participants. The first question is, can we be your coaches for the next 2 hours? And when I say we have our team of coaches here with us this evening that you'll get a chance to know. Some you may be familiar with, but it's going to be very important that you answer this question for yourself. Because if your answer is anything other than yes, it means you're probably in the wrong place. So let's get started. Our purpose today, as your coach, will be to reward your time investment. And notice we use the word investment, not the time spent, with simplest and fastest and easiest ways to increase sales and profit, to free up your time, which is one of the biggest things that business owners complain about, and of course, to help you with strategies when it comes to creating an amazing team. A little bit about us as Action Coach. We are the world's #1 business coaching franchise. We are in more than 80 countries around the world, and we have over 1,000 coaching offices. It's a privately owned franchise. It is owned by Brad Sugars, and this franchise has been around now for the past 26 years. Brad Sugars is a very visionary individual. He's also an author. He has authored over 15 different books. Some you'll get a chance to see if you come into our office. We have them also on sale. The overall vision of Action Coach is world abundance through business re-education. We have tailored that vision to Action Coach Guyana, and our vision is Guyana's abundance through business re-education, where we believe we hold true to this saying that there is enough for everyone. So we don't have to talk another business owner or try to sabotage somebody in order to get ahead. There is enough for everyone. We are continuously coaching businesses every single day, every single week. The stats shows we continuously coach over 25,000 businesses weekly across North America and other parts of the world. Now, as we're going to get into the presentation, we're going to have all of our coaches introduce themselves. Yours truly, Coach Keon Smith. I have been an action coach since October 2017, and this is a journey that I truly embrace. I remember the first time that I heard about Action Coach. It was at the end of my Toastmasters meeting where Toastmaster Vishnu, as we would refer to each other, came and asked me, Keon, what are you doing now? And that single question takes me back to a reflection of my life, in that I've always had a passion for helping others. I've always had a passion for seeing individuals become their best selves. I've always had a passion for public speaking, hence Toastmasters. And what Action Coach did for me, it allowed me to marry those two passions. My passion for public speaking and my passion for bringing out the best in people. When I fell in love with Action Coach, it was simply because of the vision. When he said, I have a franchise, it's called Action Coach, and what they do is that they work along with business owners to help them to achieve better results. I was sold. And since then, I've started with ActionCOACH Guyana since April 2015. And over that time, I have really enjoyed what Action Coach stood for then and continues to stand for even now. My background spans both business and accounting. Accountancy was my first love, relationship that I cherish, but accountancy only allowed me to impact just a handful of persons. With business management and getting into business, I'm able to interact and impact thousands of lives every single day, whether it be through direct contact or through our videos and information that we share. I love Toastmasters because it provides me with an opportunity to improve how I communicate both internally and externally. And I love the opportunity it gives you when it comes to developing your leadership skills as well. Overall, I can tell you becoming an action coach has probably been one of the the single best decision that I have made in my life. And that is next to getting married to my beautiful wife. So it is something that I love doing and something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. And there's an old saying that goes, if you find something that you love doing, it is not considered as a job. So this for me is not a job. This is my passion. Next, we're gonna allow Coach Shanti to give her introduction.
Thank you, Kian. And good evening all on the call. And those who are looking on Facebook too, good evening. And a little bit about myself is that 2 years back, I would say maybe 5, 6 years back, I felt as though I was just maybe asleep. I don't know how many of you feel that way. Is that like life has just been monotonous and mundane. All you can put them together, and it's waking up doing the same thing over and over, and came to a point in life where you thought of, is this all to life? Is this you just wake up, do some work, sleep, wake up, weekends maybe church, and Saturday something else, and it just go year after year until you realize that you're getting older, and pretty soon you're just waiting it out to die and be buried. And I said to myself, there have to be more to life than this, and I want to find what is my purpose and why I'm here on this earth. And I want to be able to do it. And I want to be able to experience that fulfilled life and not be at the end of my life to say that, I wished I've done this and I wished I was better in this, or I don't want to have no regrets. And each and every day that I can live and be able to do something impactful. And so that one of my goal is to leave this world a better place than what I found it. And with all, that wake up call a few years back, it's me wanting to be able to help others and being able to cause, maybe bring that rippling effect where you can impact someone's life who will go on to impact many more lives. And to do that, I saw, it's really going to be more impactful if being a coach, and that fuels me that I can able to help others, and working with business owners or leaders. It just fuels me to see that when their lives are transformed, their employees' lives are transformed, and that's the rippling effect that I want to see happening. And I want to see, Mahatma Gandhi says to be the change you want to see in this world. And those are the, words that keep challenging me of, if I'm seeing all these things happening, am I going to just sit back and do anything? What can I do? And that's where my passion lies, and it's in leadership. And I want to see, especially in Guyana, even as what's happening now, it's been happening for years. And as we're getting older, it's what can we do? How can we set a better example in leadership? And so I have embarked in studying transformational leadership and how we can bring that change, that positive change in people's life that can transform this country and even into this world. And so I have very big vision. And as a coach, it is to challenge my clients to into dreaming bigger and not settling for the wherever your comfort zone has kept you all these years. Like myself, for 12 years, pretty much didn't do anything. And so my background is in business. I've worked few years in the banking sector and also in the volunteer in many different organizations too, in Christian organization. I'm on the board of some of them right now, and also in the private sector in the Chamber of Commerce as a member and a counselor for many years. I've developed that passion of business and seeing how the business is actually the taxes that pays to run this country and to make it better, and how can we as business owners, as the coaches that coaches the businesses, how can we even give back to our country in that way and to see it develop? And so that's where I am at today, that I am doing this because I love it, and I love being able to help others, and seeing them grow just fuels me. So what are your passion? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you even start your business, what you're doing right now? If it is something that you're dreaming about doing, ask yourself, why do I want to do this? Because if that why is not strong enough, when things like COVID and other things hit you, you will give up. And so when the why is strong, there's nothing's going to stop you. You'll be limitless. Yes, Dion. So that's a little bit about myself.
Thank you very much, Coach Shanti, for your introduction. And next we have Coach Pramendra Parson. I think Coach Pramendra is probably off, but I'll do his introduction. Coach Pramendra is a second generation of business owner. There he is. So Coach Prem, your quick introduction, please.
Yes, I had one thing because I've been disconnected a couple of times. anyways, I just want to say that I I've experienced the challenges of business, and I could understand some of the needs that you may have, or the pains that you may have of, you know, especially in this time of uncertainty with this COVID-19. You know, many of us are looking at how are we going to be able to support our businesses or support our families, and how are we going to be able to survive. At one time, we were there in our business where we were just stuck in one place, and things became a routine, and our sales began to decline. And I just, had to ask myself, what can I do to be able to transition into this next step? My answer to that was education. I've been to the university, and I'm also pursuing my master's in small and medium enterprise management. But that wasn't enough. I needed to have that practical experience and that way of just getting out there and testing what works. So I had to be able to get into a community, getting to around people who would actually push forward and actually test the market, be innovative, and look at what is new. And this is what I believe Action Coach brings. When I started coaching, this is about 5 years ago, when I met Keon and Vishnu, they introduced me, or they gave me that clarity that I needed to be able to see things in a new light. And that is what was the change agent for me at that time. And coaching is something that caused me to think. They asked me questions that I didn't even think about. Even in our questionnaire, which you'll have an opportunity to fill out at the end of this session, it has questions that makes you think about your business, how to push forward. So I trust as you go through the session and you gather as much learning as you can, make notes and write it down. And at the end, fill out the questionnaire so that you can be able to have some idea of what that next step is and what are the key elements for you. I am Coach Prem. I'm sure probably Keon had mentioned it. And I am happy to have you with us this evening. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Coach Premendra Parson. And just for clarity, Coach Prem is also one of the first clients, well, among the first set of clients that we had as Action Coach. And he has been able to work his way out of being there full-time in the business and now able to do coaching to help other business owners. Finally, but by no means least, we have Dr. Vishnu Durga, who is not just a coach, but he's also the CEO of Action Invest Caribbean Inc., who owns a franchise for Action Coach Guyana. Dr. Vishnu? No, I'm hearing you clearly, but I'm not seeing you. Yeah. Thank you very much, uh, Dr. Vishnu. So Dr. Vishnu is also functioning as our technical expertise in the background. We're also streaming our session, hence why we're not able to get both video content, but I'm sure you'll get a chance to see him coming on to the end of the program. I would like to remind persons who are in our Zoom room and also tuning in on our social media platforms to please have your questions ready so you can document your questions as we go along the presentation. And feel free to make note of it so that when you have the opportunity to ask your questions, we can make sure that we have a very fruitful and flowing discussion. We heard from the coaches, but we're also backed by an amazing team. And it might sound extremely biased, but I can tell you our team is indeed amazing, given what we're able to do with our size. A part of our amazing team, we have Mistress Davitri Durga. She is our administrative director, responsible for the financial integrity of our business, as well as ensuring that administratively everything gets done. To back up her, we have Miss Divya Durga. She is our projects and systems director, ensuring that our systems are documented, and we are currently working towards becoming ISO certified. Divya is the custodian of our ISO manual and ensures that we are continuously and consistently providing the level of service as we have indicated in our manual. We have Ms. Ruby McCalman. She is our office coordinator, assisting our administrative director to ensure that everything is in order and that we are continuously above board regards to documentations, files, etc. Next, we have Ms. Tatiana Elcock. She is our executive assistant, one of the persons that plays a very key role in ensuring that meetings are booked, that clients are called when they have their meetings. She would have been the person who would have been sending emails and reminders to the persons who are in our Zoom room right now. Tatiana is the person behind that. So we want to make sure that the system works so that the coaches can be able to turn up and just deliver. So our team really plays a very, very key role in ensuring that we can focus and concentrate on what we do best. We have Mr. Roland Yuduksi. He is our expediter, responsible for ensuring whatever needs to get done in and around the office, that is also done according to our systems as well. And it really helps to add to the flow of our office. Finally, but not least, we have Mr. Daniel Subrim. He's our business development manager, one of the persons who would have been very key in ensuring that the businesses we're talking to right now, having these interviews with, he's one of the persons responsible for reaching out and having those conversations. Like like I said, I know that Dr. Vishnu would have found a way to be with us visually. I never doubted him for any moment. A little, thank you. You see, a little bit about learning. Now, the brain is a very magnificent organ. It is one of the organs that once you train it really well, can give you massive results. What I love about the brain is that both sides of our brain functions so that we can make the best decision. The left side of our brain is mostly responsible for our logical thinking. This is where most of the processing takes place, things like details and maths. And we know that many business persons out there, well, they love their business, but some of them, they hate numbers. They hate to deal with the numbers. We have the right side of the brain, which is the more artistic side, the creative side of the brain. And this is where we begin to think outside of the box, create the vision and the bigger picture. Now, when it comes to business, we want to make sure that we unlock both sides of the brain and we utilize both sides of the brain. Now, when you're learning new information, what usually happens is that it triggers the left and the right side of your brain, and it creates something what we call confusion. Now, when you're confused, especially when you're exposed to new information, it is not for you to get frazzled, not for you to get worried. Confusion is a signal that learning is taking place or it's about to take place. What we're going to ask you to do is to rewire your thinking this evening. We're going to ask you to put aside all the things that you already know and open your minds to learning something new this evening. Even if you get 1% better than how you came in to our session this evening, it means that you would have grown. So we want to be able to keep that in mind that we are going to be talking about some things you're familiar with, and we are going to be exploring information that you may be unfamiliar with that challenges what you already know or what you're currently doing. So it's to have an open mind and let's get into learning. In addition, to get most out of any training, whether it be this environment or any other environment you are going to be a part of, I'm going to encourage you to use colors when you're making your notes. So usually in our physical training, we would have our jungle flex markers on the table so that the participants can use them. I would encourage you grab colored pens, grab highlighters, ask your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your cousin or family member to borrow their markers so that you can take notes in colors. When you write and you use colors, what happens? It creates what we call an instant recall. It is stimulating the right side of your brain. Writing stimulates the left side of your brain. So you're using both combinations. We're going to ask you to type in your responses. For the persons who are in the Zoom room, you can type it in the chat box. For the persons who are on our other social media platforms, type it in the comment box. The comment box, let's get the participation going. If you have a question, you can just raise your hand, use the raise hand function for the Zoom participants or indicate on our social media platform. We're going to ask you to make sure that you take as much notes as you possibly can. Write, which writing feeds your short-term memory. I would ask you to draw as well. And the drawing is not going up for exhibition or competition. Draw it in the best way that suits you so that you can take the notes and take the information and store it into your long-term memory. One of the concepts that you will always see at all of our sessions is the point of power. Now, the point that you're seeing, that yellow dot, represents our attitude. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it is our attitude that will determine our level of success. It will determine how we go about our business. Now, unfortunately, some persons have what we call a below the point type of attitude, where they engage in what we call bad behavior, BED. First of all, they find themselves in a state of denial. So you're talking to them, you're asking them, so how is business going? And they know that the business is not doing well, but they're telling you that the business is fantastic. It is great. Being in denial also means they're telling themselves that there's nothing more that they need to learn. They've probably been in business for 5, 10 years. And some of you who are listening to this session as well, you might be finding yourself in denial, where you started to listen, it's like, okay, what are they going to teach me this evening? Being in denial is one of the most single destructive things that you can do to yourself as an individual and more specifically as a business owner. We then move out of a state of denial and we graduate up to making excuses. I mean, let's think about it for a while. When you were younger, probably around 9, 8 years old. I know some of you have to go back longer than others. And you couldn't finish your homework in school. What were some of the excuses you made? Whether it be you had blackout, and I mean GPL is probably still getting blamed up to a day like today. Whether you had blackout, you forgot your book home, you had work to do, you would find an excuse to make when you couldn't finish your homework. What do you think is the biggest excuse we make now as adults? Time. We are always running out of time. When you can't finish your report to submit it by the deadline, oh, I didn't have enough time. When you can't get the product to the customer, oh, we didn't have enough time. So what happens is that we start making excuses, start finding reasons why things cannot be done. And when we start making a lot of excuses, then it's very, very easy for us to get our PhD, and that is moving up to blame. So blaming is when we are looking to blame something else or someone else for what is currently happening. As business owners, we're currently right now blaming COVID-19. We're blaming the elections. We're blaming the weather. Anything else that we can point to that stops us from taking the responsibility, we are going to do that. Which means that we're no longer blaming like this. We're no longer pointing one finger forward, because we know what they say: when you point one finger, you have 3 to 4 pointing back at you. In some cases, you're pointing like this, one is going somewhere up there. We now have professional blamers. They blame like this. It's them. They point all of their fingers to the front, which means they blame their team, they blame the government, they blame the weather, they blame the traffic. It is everyone else, and everything else is reason why they cannot move forward and get where they want to go. Instead of blaming, because when you blame, let's say we weren't able to get Coach Prem because of the internet connection. I say, oh, it's Coach Prem's fault. Why did he not uh, get better internet connection? Now, it possibly could have been a reason beyond his control. But when I blame the person, Coach Prem begins to feel bad, which means that if I need to go to him for assistance or help, more than likely, he wouldn't want to give it to me. It is very difficult for us to go back to get the person to help us, or even for us to help them when we blame them. Instead of blaming, ladies and gentlemen, think about how can you take responsibility. And this is moving above the point and having that above the point type of attitude. Taking responsibility is not just accepting the blame, saying, oh, I accept the blame. Taking responsibility is, first of all, asking yourself, what could I have done differently that would have given me a better or a different result? Think about what could have been your role in this, which means, could I have offered a solution to Coach Prem? If I know that he's having connection issues, I could have suggested can come to my location. He can get a data plan. He can go to his neighbor and politely ask them to borrow their internet connection. It is, what do you need to do in order to add value to the situation, instead of just using your energies to focus on what went wrong. Having an above type of attitude means we need to be accountable. And I want you to pay attention to that word that comes just about the middle, COUNT, the word count. It means that whatever we're doing, we need to be able to measure how we're progressing. We need to be accountable. And you can only be accountable for what you can actually count, which means, what are the standards by which we are currently operating? What are the KPIs that we're setting for ourselves? What are the KPIs by which we're being measured? Accountability is one of the biggest factor when it comes to having an above the point type of attitude. And there are three things I'd like to share with you when it comes to being accountable. We need to be accountable for our art, A-R-T. We need to be accountable for our actions. Please make sure you write it down. We need to be accountable for our results. And we need to be accountable for our time. Actions, results, and time. Finally, having an above the point attitude talks about taking ownership. Just like the word suggests, ownership, it means you are in charge of charting the course, charting your direction, and this can be by determining what do you need to learn. So you get yourself out of that state of denial where you don't believe there's nothing more that you need to learn, everything is going perfect and it's not, to taking ownership for the situation, taking ownership for the business, taking ownership of where your business is right now, and determining what do I need to do to move it forward. I can tell you the persons who are in our Zoom room and tuned in on our social media platforms, they have taken ownership for their growth and their personal development, hence why you're here this evening. So instead of being below the point and feeling powerless and drained, where everything happens to you, you feel like the victim. So you get ready to come out. Oh, the rain started to fall. Yes, the rain started to fall just because you came out. Or you're late and you're blaming the traffic. That's just because you are late. Instead of feeling powerless and drained and feeling the role of a victim, how can we continue to develop an above the point type of attitude where we feel powerful, we feel like the victor, where we can determine our direction. So it is very, very key to work on having the above the point type of attitude. When it comes to what we're doing this evening, I want you to ask yourself this question, or let me ask you this question. Have you ever failed at anything before? I know I have. I've made mistakes before. But the question is, have you allowed those mistakes to keep you down and keep you stagnant? No. You are able to overcome those mistakes and you're able to become better at what you do. Similarly, like a child, when they're now learning to walk and they get up and they fall down, you don't tell the child, oh, stay down, don't ever get up again because I don't want you to hurt yourself. No, as parents, we encourage the self abuse by telling the child, oh, get up, mommy baby or daddy baby, and try again. It's the same level of encouragement I want you to have when it comes to participating. Yes, you might have made an error, but the only way you can get better is by participating. And what we're going to ask you to do is give 100%, and you're going to get 100%. All the coaches this evening, we will give you 100%, and it's up to you to take in as much as you can. We're encouraging you this evening to participate. And when you're participating, it means that you need to get rid of the two most dangerous words in the English vocabulary. I know. Think about this. How many of you have teenagers, interact with teenagers? What do teenagers think they know? Everything. But the moment you try to tell them something, I know. And sometimes it can be frustrating. But first of all, we need to get rid of it for ourselves, which means when somebody's sharing information with you, you want to have a very open mind. When you have what we call the I know type of attitude, what it does, it stops people from sharing information with you, first of all. And then, second, and probably more importantly, it stops you from learning. And we've encountered this many times where we've sat with business owners and We're telling them about what we do. And like, I know, we've done that. And sometimes a month after, 3 months after, 6 months after, they're sitting right back in our chairs because they realize that they actually don't know what they claim that they knew. So we want to get rid of the I know attitude and we want to have what we call an isn't that interesting type of attitude. When somebody's saying something to you and you want to use I know, resist it. Be strong and say, isn't that interesting? Tell me more. Now, you might be familiar with about 90% of what the person is saying, but that 10% could be the change you're looking for. That 10% could be the idea that you didn't even think about because sometimes we can overcomplicate a situation or a solution. So we want you to have a very open mind and get rid of the I know attitude and have what you call an isn't that interesting type of attitude. With learning, we also want to make sure that learning must be fun. Just like when you were in school, we had these rhymes and rhythms that helped us to learn information faster. We want to have some fun tonight. And business should also be about fun. You didn't get into business to be working 23 hours a day and not being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So tonight, just before we get into more information, I want to have a little fun with you. And I'm going to ask you to take a poll. Our team, they're going to launch the poll for you to tell me how many oval shapes are you seeing? So I'm going to ask our team to launch that poll. How many oval shapes are you seeing? And the poll is going to be for our Zoom room, but the persons who are on our social media platforms, you can send your answers in the comments, as comments. All right, so the voting is happening. We have 45% of the persons in the room have voted already. So I encourage you guys to vote. And you don't have to worry, this is going to be very transparent. All right, just about reaching our final number. I would ask Dr. Vision to end their poll as soon as we've hit the number of persons voting. Thank you very much. And there you have your poll results. 43% of the persons said that they saw no oval shapes, while 57% indicated that they saw 16 oval shapes. So persons who've indicated that they've seen 16 oval shapes, they are correct. For the other persons who did not see the oval shape, this is why coaching will definitely work for you as well. It simply means that as a coach or as coaches, we help you to see things that are not always clear. We help you to get clarity so that you can have a direction to move towards. The persons who are able to see the oval shape, we work with you so that you can continuously take advantage of opportunities that you have in your industry. So thank you very much for participating in our poll this evening. For the persons who are on our social media platforms, I'm sure Dr. Vishnu will give us the stats a bit later on as to how did you fair with regards to this exercise. What you can expect from tonight's session would be BFOs, and we call them blinding flashes of the obvious, where you're going to be able to have what we call those aha or light bulb moments, where you're going to say, now I understand what this means, or now I understand why this works. And when you have those BFOs, my encouragement to you is to please write them down, make notes of them so that you can continue to implement what you've learned. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Andrew Ball. He's our very, very first client from Eureka Labs. And when we worked with Andrew, Dr. Vishnu at that time, really pushed the envelope to create the vision and focus for Andrew and his company. We've worked with Eureka for quite some time, and they have evolved into what we're calling now as the Twin Tower of the medical labs. And if you go on Thomas Street, you're going to see the two buildings that look very, very similar. He worked with the systems, and I can safely say, Andrew has been really, really a pioneer when it comes to laboratory tests. So we work with you to ensure that your vision is clear and that you can focus on your goals so that you can achieve them. Now, let us think about your business. And the big question, or the big questions are, is your business driving you, or are you driving your business? Are you sitting down, pulling your hair out because you're frustrated, you're working hard, but you don't seem to be getting anywhere in the business? Or do you want to be in a position where your business is working and you can be enjoying the reasons why you got into business in the first place? I know many of us, we got into business because we wanted to work for ourselves. We wanted to work for a bigger person, wanted to work for ourselves and to gain more finances, but then we find ourselves that we are stuck in the business. Most people only ever have what we call a job, and our job stands for just over broke. You're just breaking even, you're barely making it, and you're looking for an escape. So we don't want you to just have a job as a business owner. We want you to make sure that you can have a profitable business. And with that, we have to look at the number one reasons why business fail. And there are many different reasons why businesses fail. And the number one reason, I know we're going to take a poll, but I'm going to share this with you. The number one reason for business failure is burnout, where persons simply don't have enough energy to continue moving forward because they're working so hard and they're not seeing the results. We don't want you to be a victim of burnout, so we're going to share with you tips and strategies to help you to grow your business. Our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. When we talk about it being a commercial, first of all, being commercial, it means that other persons will be interested in buying the product or soliciting the service that you're offering. Other persons other than your close friends and family. You want to make sure that the business is profitable because that's one of the main reasons why we get into business in the first place. If you don't want a business that's profitable, then let's just start a charity. We want to make sure we build an enterprise, which means that we have systems, we have an operation that continues to move even if we are not there. So commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. The without you doesn't mean that you're giving up your business, you're selling your business. It means that you can afford to stay away from your business for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month, and not have to worry if you will still have a business when you return. And it'll be very interesting to know how many of you who are on the call, who are listening in, can actually stay away from your business for 2 weeks, for a month, and not have to worry about what is going to happen to it. Now, Do you believe that there is a recipe for building a business? Just like how you would follow a recipe for making a cake, we have a recipe for building businesses. And this is called our 6 steps to massive results. It starts, first of all, at the foundation, and this is called the mastery level, where we work with you to eliminate or reduce chaos. Chaos doesn't mean that nothing is going right, but it means that there's room for improvement, that we can streamline the operations and the systems of the business. When we are finished with the mastery level, we are now able to have a solid foundation upon which we can work on the next level, which is niche. Niche is a nice fancy word for marketing, finding out what you're really good at. And once you work in your marketing, it's easy for us to have what we call predictable cash flow because we're constantly filling the funnel of prospective clients for the business. With our marketing working, we're able now to have enough cash that we can invest in having the systems that can really help us to run this business, that to have it working without us. And this is where we talk about leverage, which means how do we do the work once and it serves us for a very, very long time. Systems help to develop the efficiency of our businesses. When we have the systems running, we're able to now buy more time because our team will be trained on the systems. And as the business owner, you're able now to have more time for yourself. And this is where we can start to structure the growth of the business. I remember even today, one of our clients saying that they were able to stay away 2 days from work with zero complaints from their team, from their customers, and even from the environment that they're in. That's really, really heartwarming. Once we work with the team is now running the systems. We can then install a general manager because we now have a well-oiled machine, and the general manager is the person who will work along with the team to bring about the synergies that would help us to reach to the final stage, which is getting massive results. At this point is where you can now move away from one business and think about how do you focus on getting passive income. Passive income is where you don't have to be actively working. So there's active income where you have to be there in order to generate the income. Passive income, you don't have to be there physically, but the business is still generating money. You can think about opening new businesses, opening another branch. So how do you continue to grow? We're going to dissect these 6 steps as we progress this evening. In the coaching system, we also look at the 5 ways and the 4 ways. These are all connected to our 6 steps to building a massive business. And the 5 ways, which we'll also go into more depth, talk about lead generation, conversion rate, average dollar sale, number of transactions, and margins. And 4 ways talks about how do we leverage the people in education, systems and technology, delivery and distribution, and of course, accounting, testing, and measuring. Mastery level, moving from the point of chaos to control, and this is where we work on building that commercial enterprise. When we talk about a mastery level, there are 4 areas of mastery that we're going to explore. Because if you don't master those areas, you will end up in a state of chaos. And chaos can be very, very expensive, not only financially, but also on your personal life. We have seen many relationships strained simply because of the number of hours persons spend in their business just to make sure that they can survive. So you don't want where you're working hard and your family should understand that you're working hard for them because let's face it, sometimes the kids, even the wife, all they're waiting is that when you finish working hard for you to crop out, as we say, so that they can really enjoy the benefits that you have provided. So we want to make sure that there's a good balance between the time that you invest in your business and also the time that you invest with your family, have better financial management. Because if this is not done, we will definitely be in one of those statistics where most small businesses usually fail within the first 5 years. So how do we move from a point of chaos to control? And this is where we look at having better financial management for your business. This is being able not just to collect the money, but how do we track, save, and of course, spend the money that you earn in a very responsible manner so that you can be in control of what is happening. The 4 areas of mastery, first of all, we have destination mastery. Destination mastery is all about having the clear vision, knowing where you want to go. Similarly, like somebody who's about to build a building or a house, they don't just go to the land and start putting blocks all around or start to dig as they feel like. Generally, in order for you to do that, you need what you call your blueprint, or we call it the house plan or the building plan. That building plan is going to provide the direction of how the building should be constructed. Destination mastery is extremely key, and this is the starting point where we start with our clients. Because if you don't have a clear enough and a strong enough vision, you're not going to go anywhere. You have just arrived if you don't know where you're going. So we want to make sure that your vision is strong. The way that we test your vision is that we ask you to write it out and put it by your bed. And if you wake up in the morning and you turn and you look at your vision and you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to sleep for 50 more minutes, your vision is not strong enough. Because your vision is meant to enroll and to inspire you. So it enrolls you and your team into what the company is doing. And of course, it inspires people to do business with you. So nobody wants to do business with a company that isn't going anywhere. So it's all about how do we get your vision from out of your head. We put it on paper, we get it on the wall of your business, and of course into the hearts of your team members and whoever is doing business with you. And that's basically one of the ways that we usually would test the vision as well. When we go to organizations and there's a nice vision on the wall and a team member is passing, we wait until they're backing the vision. We stop them and ask them, well, what is the vision of this business? And sometimes they make up some fancy things. Some of it sounds even better than what is on the wall. But it just goes to show that the vision is not in the hearts of your team members. And it is very, very key that your vision is in your heart as in the heart of your team members. Next area of mastery, we have money mastery. And I'm going to ask Coach Vishnu to give his take on money mastery. Coach Vishnu?
Hi, Coach Guyana. Hopefully you can be able to see me.
Yes, we can.
And you can hear me as well.
Yes.
That is fantastic. Now, I would ask you to probably bring up the other 2 areas of mastery, because
Sure.
I think this particular PowerPoint goes into more detail. So there are 4 areas of mastery, as Kian mentioned: destination, then we have money, time, and delivery. And if you can please advance the slide. So Kian would have already mentioned what delivery mastery is all about. Delivery mastery really is about making sure that you know what your destination is. Because as Kian mentioned, if you jump into a taxi called Life, and Life turns around and asks you, okay, where are you going? And you have no idea what your destination is, guess what? You've arrived. And there are so many businesses, so many organizations, so many individuals in not just our country, across the world, who really haven't thought about where they're going. And how can you attract the right people to your organization if they are looking at you as the driver of the bus, not knowing where your bus is heading? So one of the key points that the coach will start working with you on immediately, especially if you are taking advantage of getting to your destination is figuring out where that is. What's better than having a coach sit with you, a professional coach sitting with you and helping you figure that out. And yeah, Kian did ask me about money mastery. And money mastery is really making sure that you know your numbers, both historically, really understanding how is your business performing. Seasonally, are you the type of business that has a constant cash flow throughout the year, or are there fluctuations? And even more importantly than that, is your business generating a significant enough gross profit margin, which is all the profit after you would have subtracted the cost of the goods, that is more than enough to pay off all your expenses and leave you with a very healthy net margin. Many business owners make the mistake of actually adding a markup, let's say a 50% markup, and then feeling really good about it because in their mind they're thinking that they're making 50%. However, a markup is not the same as a margin. Right? If something costs you $100 and you add on 50%, it means you're selling for $150. Technically, the margin that you made was 50 divided by 150, which is 33%. So if you start giving away big discounts because you thought you're making 50%, you give away 20, give away 25%, you're really giving that away from just 33%. So those are some of the very basics that we really need to work out what is really going on in your business, because what we found is that is one of the main reasons why businesses stagnate. And every time they give a discount, I'm sure you'll hear from the coaches what happens next. Coach Kia.
Yes. Definitely one of the key areas, Dr. Vishnu, before you leave as well, is budgeting and reporting. And with many businesses, unfortunately, when you ask them if they have a budget, they will tell you yes. And you ask them to show you that budget, they are crumbling in their seats because they don't have anything physically written down. And when you have your budget, it's very key that you not only just have the budget, but you're also following the budget. One of the key points.
One of the things to remember, yes, Kian, is that when it's just the business owner, and the business owner has nobody that they're accountable to, it is very easy for a business owner to bluff their way through. But when a business owner has really decided that they're going to move themselves forward, move their organization forward, they know that it comes with accountability. So that what they think and what they say and what they do are all the same, because now, every week, every other week, they're sitting with the coach that's going to ask them, well, 2 weeks ago, you decided that you're going to get these 4 very important things done. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right? And that is the type of thing that actually helps people move forward towards what they really want in life. I see that you have the money mastery slide up there as well.
Yeah.
We also have to make sure that you understand at what point in the day, in the week, in the month, a business actually gets to its break-even point. And break-even basically means that the gross profit that you've made is exactly equal to your expenses for that month. Because only when you pass your break-even point, and in this example, it's at about day 15, do you actually start generating net profits, which is the profit that you actually get to keep as a business owner. So quite a bit that needs to get done in order to really get clarity and to grow your business from a small business to a medium business, from a medium to a large, and from a large to a multinational company, multi-units incorporated with the board, and that is exactly the type of progression that we specialize in helping business owners get to.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vishnu. And it's just for persons to realize as well, it's very important to know your break-even point. So for those persons who are listening, please make sure that this is something that you are familiar with and that you can calculate. And if you don't know to do that, when you reach with one of the coaches, we can walk you through how to find your break-even point. Now, when it comes to the third part of mastery, it is called time mastery. And I'm going to ask Coach Shanti to share her feedback on time mastery.
Thank you, Kian. When we think of time, right, if I'm to ask you, have you ever went to a time management class? And, we call it time management, but really and truly it's self-management. And why? Because you cannot manage something that you can't control. You have 24 hours, I have 24 hours. And what do you do in those 24 hours? Are you wasting it off on Facebook? Are you wasting it off in, things that are not productive? And at the end of the day, then you ask people what you were doing, and then you're like, oh, I'm not, I've been so busy, and I don't have enough time to do anything, right? And so you might be in a distraction zone where you're either on your phone and on Facebook, or maybe you're following everything that's happening with the COVID or the election, whatever it is that's eating up your time, right? And then sometimes we might be in a delusion state where these are things that are urgent, but they're not important. And as you move through that, and 10% of that time should be in those areas. And the demand area, however, it's more of what were urgent things and important things, things that maybe the work that you were supposed to be doing, right? So 60% of your time likely to be in that area, invest in that area. And then what you really want to be in is that zone, that red area that says not urgent, but it's important, right? So when you think of that zone, if you were to think about your family, where would you put them on this target here? Right? So ideally, your family should be in that zone. You should not have a situation where you're fighting fire and everything. You have to be in a reactive kind of situation. It's more of how do you be proactive in putting things in place so that you don't have to keep running back to something and fix this, fix that, and that's what eats up many of us our time, because we are not proactive. Okay, so think about it. Where are you working? Because working on the business is in that zone there. What time are you putting aside to plan? Many of us don't put aside any time to plan on the business. Most of the time you're working in the business than working on the business. So who is actually doing your planning to, taking this business? Who is setting the vision? Who is setting the goals of this business if you're now working on the business to take it to a next level? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Coach Shanti, and love the point of working on the business versus working in the business, because we get tied up with the day-to-day activities and don't focus on the planning. And it's very important for this time target for persons to understand that it's about creating the schedule so that you can effectively manage yourself, and nothing gets on your schedule that doesn't take you closer towards your goals. And as your coach, we help you to map out your default diary so you can focus on the activities that are important but not urgent. So no urgency is created. And I often ask, especially when I have male clients, if you are in a situation where you have something to do for your mom or something to do for your spouse, your wife or your girlfriend, at the same day, same time, and they're of equal importance, which one would you choose? So I know for the guys, this is a very, very tough situation, and we don't want to find ourselves there. So it's very important that we can manage our time effectively so we know where our time is going. We love to work with our clients to bring about results, to make sure that once they would have set their goals and they have their vision very, very clear, that we can work towards reaching those results. And this is Dr. Surendra Prasad. He has been a client with us now for just over 2 years, and also continuing to see massive results in his business. Recently opened another location and have very, very big vision for where he wants to take his business. Coach Prem, can you share your thoughts on us when it comes to delivery mastery?
All right, so delivery mastery, this is the operations basically of the business. This is your core thing that you do. You want to be able to deliver consistently over time. Now, consistency equals to the foundation of growth. Now, what we really are looking for here is that level that our customers can depend on us for a particular service, for a particular product, the quality of the product. Make sure that we can be able to deliver it on time, or maybe we can be able to deliver it with the same quality. Now think about it. Have you ever been to a restaurant or been to a business? One time you were so satisfied with the product, maybe a restaurant, you were satisfied with the food, and you went back another time, you were so satisfied, you were so, the service was great, the food was great, and then another time you went back, and then the food wasn't as good enough. The service that you received wasn't good enough. How do you feel when that happens? As a customer for that store, how do you feel? You feel disappointed. What is the decision that you make? You make a decision not to go back to that restaurant. You eventually choose another restaurant. And that is what happens in businesses. When there is this level of inconsistency, the customer is disappointed. The customer now makes a decision to actually move to another business or to choose another service. So it's so important that you should put systems in place so that this doesn't happen. Has this ever happened to you in your business? Majority of times it happens. But when we are conscious of it, then we place our attention, as Keon mentioned before, where we place our attention. We need to be able now to be specific and be focused on where we place our attention. Delivery mastery is another place, or a key place, that we should place our attention so that our customers can expect that level of consistency in our products, in our services, and over time, you will have a customer for life. You never know.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Coach Prem. Definitely delivering with a level of consistency. And in the image, you're seeing the Wynn Hotel. That is in Las Vegas. All of our coaches would have gone to Las Vegas for training and certification. And I did have the privilege of visiting the Wynn Hotel. The structure is more massive. The picture does not do justice to that hotel in terms of the size. And also, when you talk about consistency in service, there is a reason why that image is there. And it is really, really fantastic. As we move up the ladder, we've completed the 4 areas of mastery, being destination, money, time, and delivery mastery. We're now moving up to niche, which talks about building that commercial, profitable business. Niche is another fancy word when it comes to marketing, and our definition of niche is where you create your business where you don't have to focus on competing on price. We have to think about it from this particular standpoint, that most of the times we try to compete on price, but then what happens? Somebody will come and they will sell $10 or $100 less than you. And what happens to your customers? They run over there. So we have to work on building a customer loyalty where we don't have to be competing on price. How do we continuously add value to your products and to your service so that customers can appreciate your business for the value you bring to them versus being $100 less than the competition? So you don't want to be in a position where you're engaging in a price war, because what is eventually going to happen, you're going to price yourselves out of the market. Because if I go $100 less, it means that somebody else is going to come less than me and I'll go less than them. And we'll have a back and forth where we price ourselves out of the market. Additionally, not having price competition means that we need to work on creating our uniqueness. identifying what makes us unique, and being able to communicate that to our customers. When we talk about creating your uniqueness, it's all about how do we create our unique, have or identify a unique selling point, and of course, have a guarantee. It means that you want to separate yourself from the masses. So you want to come out to the public pool and you want to be a business or a business person who is in a jacuzzi. Now, when persons want to get you out of your jacuzzi, they'll be more than willing to pay for your service because of the value that you bring. The question is to all the persons who are tuned in, the persons who are on a social media platform, what makes your business unique? And we want to encourage you, a big tip right now, don't say excellent customer service because everybody says they have the best customer service. And we know that is not exactly the truth. So you really want to find what makes you unique, be able to identify it, and be able to communicate it to your prospective customers and even to your current customers to remind them of why they're actually doing business with you. There are many different strategies to help you identify some of the uniqueness that are not obvious. And of course, we work with you, develop those strategies so that you can identify what really sets you apart. Having a guarantee for your business is different from a warranty. A warranty is usually on a product that says if the product is damaged, the manufacturer defect, within a certain period of time, it will either be repaired or replaced. A guarantee is your commitment, your promise to the customer that your product or service will give them a particular benefit. And having a guarantee is going to reduce the risk of people doing business with you. So if you tell them, I guarantee, I'm going to use the Action Coach guarantee, we guarantee you that within 17 weeks, you will begin to see results, or we have to coach you for free. In the 26 years existence of the franchise, nobody has ever claimed that guarantee. And we want to make sure that in our 5 years and growing, that will not happen here as well. Now, persons are afraid that people are going to take advantage of them because they have a guarantee. Think about this. Who writes the guarantee? As the business owner, you're the person that writes the guarantee, which means you need to make sure that you cover yourself in the fine prints of the guarantee. Our fine prints is that you must attend all of your sessions, you must do your home fund, you must be committed to growing your business and making the decisions. Once that is done, we are guaranteed that you will definitely grow. So it's all about identifying what makes you unique and having a guarantee in your business. A guarantee is also strengthened when you have, if not, policy, which means we guarantee your results. If not, we will do this for you. It can be a money back guarantee, it can be replacement of the product or service. So whatever you can do in your business to help to strengthen your guarantee. When it comes to eliminating competition, we want to, as a business, always stay within the top 15%, which means we want to be in a position where we keep innovating. When you keep innovating, it means that you're always going to be ahead of the curve. It's going to be very difficult for other businesses to catch up with you. It's going to be hard for them to imitate what you're doing. Because as soon as a lot of persons are doing the same thing, we end up in a position where our business now becomes like a commodity. Everybody's doing it, which means we can only compete on price. So for example, for the gas stations that started to add a convenience store component, at first, the person who first came up with that idea, they were in the innovative bracket. And I'm sure other persons, other gas station owners were like, you got to be crazy. Why would I want to put a convenience store? That is going to be too much of work. Then other persons started to adapt to the idea. So you have what you call the early adopters. And some cases they're the imitators as well. And then more gas stations started to add that particular component to their operations until you reach to a point where now it is a standard feature of a gas station. Hardly would you see a gas station now anywhere that doesn't have a convenience store component to it. You don't want your product or service to fall into the commodity bracket where you always have to compete only on price. So always think about how can you add value. And when you sit with your coach, we work out with you how to move away from competing on price and how to keep adding value to your customers and your prospects. So let us keep innovating versus allowing our products and service to fall into the commodity bracket. Any one of the coaches want to add to this?
Yes, even now the gas stations are adding ATMs now, and ATM machines now are being so convenient for the customers who are or the commuters who are stopping to buy gas to get some extra cash as well. So that is another way of how they are continually being able to innovate and add additional services to their clients. So it evolves over time.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Coach. When it comes to marketing and leverage, it's all about looking at a concept, and this is going to be probably the most important thing that you can learn this evening is understanding the business chassis. Now, if I ask you which one of these vehicles would you love to have, I am sure based on our previous stats, most persons would pick the car to the bottom, which is the Audi R8, simply because it looks more stylish, because it looks more like a sports car. But what I want you guys to realize that both of these vehicles, both the Audi R8 and the Golf wagon, sits on the same chassis. Just like any business, they all sit on the same chassis. And we love when people come and say our business is unique, it's different. We love when you are unique, because if you are not unique, then it's difficult for you to grow and to differentiate yourself. But all businesses sit on the same chassis, and we are going to explore that chassis in just a couple of minutes. And I'm going to ask Dr. Vishnu to take this part. So it's all about how do we test and measure, which means that at Action Coach, we don't try a thing. We don't hope that things will materialize. We actually do a test to make sure that it works. And once it works, we can roll it out on a larger scale. And for us, if you don't measure what you don't measure, you cannot grow. So it is very, very important that we're able to be accountable for every aspect of our business so that we can be able to grow it as best as we can. So Dr. Vishnu is up and ready. I love that he is very much alert.
Yes, Guyana, I think as you mentioned already, it's never, we're not in a situation where we try something. As if I tell you right now, you sitting in the Zoom room and on social media, try to stand up.
Yes.
What really are you going to do? So you either stand up or you don't. Yeah. And when it comes to making sure that with these new strategies, with these different activities that you could pursue, you never want to change the entire business immediately. You want to, okay, let's work it out. Let's test it in a section of the business and then measure those results. If we like it, if it's really good, we roll it out across the organization. If we need to tweak it a little bit, we tweak it and then continue testing. And if it really didn't work out, we learn from it and we move on. In terms of the 5 ways of growing a business, most business owners just want to know how many customers they have, what the revenue is, and how much profit they make. But if you think about it, those are just really results. This is where I would like to introduce you to the 5 ways. And if you look at the 5 ways, you can see that customers, revenue, and profit are in red. And what do you think? Does that mean that that's the most important? So if you look in front of those particular words, you'll see an equal sign, which means that each one of those words in red is a result. And you can't do much when you have already achieved the result. So we want to know what makes up a result. So the number of leads, which is really the number of people who respond to your marketing, who are aware that you exist and they make contact. They haven't bought from you as yet, but they have made contact. And let's throw in some numbers there at the same time. So let's say it's about 4,000 people who would have made contact with you, multiplied by your conversion rate. And the conversion rate is of the people who make contact with you, the people who know that you exist and they now reach out to you, how many of them actually become customers? That is referred to as your conversion rate. And a conversion rate of 25% simply means that of every 4 persons who come to your organization, 1 of them actually buys. So for our example, it means that we would have ended up with 1,000 customers. The number of transactions is all about how frequently does someone buy from you over the course of a year. So let's say you're buying bread, a pack of bread. On average, somebody might buy a pack of bread maybe twice a week. 50 weeks, that's 100 times for the year that you would actually have that customer coming back to you. Whereas if you're selling insurance, your customer might just come to you once per year. Now, it is important to know that number for yourself, because only when you know what it is, can you improve it. The average dollar sale is where you really need to know, on average, how much does a client, a customer, spend with you on every transaction. Again, if you don't know this number, it's very tough for you to increase this number. By taking your customers, by how often they buy from you, by how much they buy from you on every occasion, you actually arrive at your revenue. So to the accountants out there, this is a different way of laying out P&L. Our profit margin, of course, that's the easier one. We already worked out that when you have a markup, you need to also work out. And markup is profit divided by cost price. We need to convert that into margin, which is profit divided by selling price. Your margin multiplied by your revenue actually gives you your profit. Right? So this is the way we actually start measuring and figuring out what's really happening in your business. Now, by sitting with a coach, and again, for those of you in the Zoom room, those of you looking at on social media at this presentation, you will get the opportunity to be able to sit with the coach to work these numbers out for your business to see what is really possible. And, increasing the number of leads, what does your social media presence look like? What does your website look like? What does your signboard look like? Do you actually have a business card that works? Do you have brochures that work? Are you engaged in any networking activity? Our goal is to make sure that you have at least 10 ways in which you're generating leads to the business, and 10 appropriate ways, because we have 80 plus ways of which you can generate leads to your organization. Conversion rate, the fastest way, of course, to increase the conversion rate is when a script is developed based on what works really well in your organization, so that you don't have to keep feeling like only when you're on the floor, only when you're talking to the customer, that is when you get the sales. By developing scripting, by doing proper staff training, and not the kind of staff training we see happening where every year for a half day, we call the staff together, we talk to them, and then everybody goes and takes a drink. That's not training, right? Training has to be done on a consistent basis. Globally, it's recommended to make sure that you have a minimum of 6 days per year. And 6 days per year is like a half day every month, to make sure that your team maintains the bare minimum. Very good organizations actually are in the 20-something days per year worth of training for their team. And the results speak for themselves. So once we have those increases, just 10% increases in those 2 areas get you 1,210 customers. In terms of the number of transactions, the fastest way to increase your number of transactions is to actually schedule the next visit, schedule the next sale, making sure that people can remember easily where you're located or how to buy from you. Average dollar sale, of course, the fast food places are masters at doing this. When you drive in there to ask for a piece of chicken, first question they ask you is, what would you like to have with it? So we do need to work out in your business what goes with what, in order for you to really allow people to buy the things. And especially, think about it. Are your customers really buying everything they could buy from you, or are they also buying from other places? And if that's the case, we really need to focus on increasing the spend that they have at your particular business. Multiplying that out, you'll actually notice that you end up with a 4 to 6% increase in revenue. And of course, profit margin is the best way to keep your profit margin up, especially if you have a larger amount of sales. Some of your costs didn't go up, so that automatically already increases your margin. But you'll also learn how to stop discounting, how to sell higher margin items, how to drop items that don't really sell at the volume that you're looking for. And you're going to start looking at maybe opening locations with where people have a higher level of income and more suited to your particular line of business. By having an increased profit margin, and I'm just giving you a few strategies for every single one of these areas. There are dozens of strategies that we need to look at what's the best for you. You'll end up with 80,525, which is a 61% increase in profit margin. And why? Because this is cumulative. Every additional increase is compounded on the previous increase. Now, for your business, what we're doing here is just a minimum of 10%. For some businesses, the leads can go up significantly. If I were to ask you, take a look at this business here, where would you, as a coach, as an apprentice coach, really focus your attention on first? I'm hoping that you would pick conversion rate, because would you really want to have a business where you're attracting 4 people, and of the 4, only one of them buy? That means that your marketing worked for 4, but you actually you burned 3 of your leads. Right? We need to figure out why is that happening, because you could do nothing else in that business, just get one more portion of the 4 to buy, so you get 2 out of 4. And if you actually do the calculation for 2 out of 4 people buying from you, it's much more profit than what you're seeing here right now. The profit is probably closer to 160,000 if we get 50% of people buying from you instead of 25%. Kian?
Thank you very much, Dr. Vishnu. So according to the maths, that will give you a 4 to 6% increase in your revenue and an overall 61% increase in profits. And the big question is, when you do get these increases, what would you do with the extra money? There's so many different things you can do. You can invest in a new vehicle. You can think about going on that vacation, sitting on the beach with your short pants, sipping a pina colada, petting your little dog. You can think about the extra time that you'll get as well. Because once you're able to have a business that runs without you, you're actually being able to reclaim your time and using your time to invest with very, very key and important people. This is part of our team. When we have our World Cup session, we're able to go to team events, and Dr. Vishnu, and it's very, very photogenic, so you'll see his face almost everywhere. So it's really giving you the time to invest with the important people in your lives. And this could be a picture with you and your family. This can be a picture with you and your team at a team function, a team outing. So think about what pictures you can replace these with regards to your business. You can even get the opportunity to travel overseas. This is part of this is the Guyana contingent. We're all at BizX this year in February, earlier before the pandemic. We're able to have about 10 business owners and team members travel to the US for education and also taking part in business awards. They've been nominated in several categories. And in fact, we have Joshua Kisun, who is the owner of Techlify Inc., coming away with 2 awards. And this is Guyanese companies competing with companies from around the world. So we are definitely pushing the envelope to see how far we can really stretch our business owners to not only just think about competing locally, but also competing on international scale. So it's very, very key that we work with our businesses to make sure that we continue moving. And I love this quote by Warren Buffett that says, "It is not necessary to do extraordinary things to get extraordinary results." So the small incremental changes you can make in your business, as you would have seen from the 5 ways, a 10% increase gives you a 4 to 6% increase in revenue and a 6 to 1% increase in profits. Think about what you can do with that level of increase in your business. Next, we have leveraging. This is actually building a commercial profitable enterprise that works. And Coach Prem is going to take us quickly through what leveraging is all about.
So leveraging is the systems and the processes that you can put in place to have that consistency. And systems stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. Now, how many of you really need some more money, some more energy, some more time, right? This is the area where we put together the systems that will be able to have that in place for you. First, it starts with the vision statement, as we talked about with the destination. Then we look at the mission. How are you going to be able to achieve this? And to be able to achieve this, we must have some kind of values. The values that build up our culture, the values that determine the behaviors within the organization. Then we turn to the goals. These are the specific things, or the action points that leads up to that big goal. It is a SMART goal. SMART equals SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-bound. Now, these are the criteria when you set a goal. Many organizations also need to have that structure in place, that authority, or the line of authority that people need to account for. Many businesses that we've been through, you had two bosses, and sometimes when the two bosses are fighting, the employee or the team member just looks at it and you're in amazement. They get some sense of entertainment. But when we have that organizational structure in place, then we look at our positional contracts, and these are the expectations, or to replace that, the things that you want to be able to put your attention to, what you want to appreciate with your team, the KPIs and the KPAs, the key activities that you want to have in place, and the numbers that you want to hit. Then there is the systems, the how-to systems, and these are the things that help those written procedures that you want to be able to put in place, checklists to be able to have that level of efficiency or that level of quality in your service. And then the systems manual, which everyone can go back to so that they can be able to understand the rules that we play by within the organization. There is the system, the instant systems book, which tells you a lot about this leverage part of your business. And this here is really what saves you time, your energy, and money. Over to you, Kian.
Thank you very much, Coach Prem. Definitely one of the keys when it comes to your culture statement is what the values that you have, and it's important that you have the values that are critical to your team, what are they going to be looking for in the organization, values that are important to your customers, values that are important to the business itself, and values that are important to you as the owner of the business. So for us at Action Coach, we have what we call our 14 points of culture that we live by, from excellence to commitment to hard work to fun as one of our culture because we often believe that you work hard and you should also be able to play hard as well. Once we have the leverage in place, we have the systems running, it is important that we now work on the team because it is a team that manages the systems that will help us as the business owners to have more time. And Coach Shanti is just going to take us through these slides.
So when we think of team, right, do you think that you need to learn how to do better recruitment? When Keon spoke about the bad behavior and you're blaming your team for non-performance and not meeting your goals, and you need to ask yourself, it's who hired these people and who is responsible for training these people, right? And so when you try to blame them, you need to look in the mirror too and ask yourself those questions. And when you think of recruitment, think about the bus, and you are the driver for the bus, right? And the persons that you put in on that bus is the persons that looks to you to lead them, right? And it's just not bringing on people on that bus, but being able to put the right person in the right seat. And so as a business owner, your job is to take care of your team. What we notice is that the owners are so busy taking care of the business or the customer, and they're not taking care of the team, forgetting that this team are the ones who are in the front line dealing with the customers. And so the way you treat your team, that's the way they end up treating your customers. And if the customers are not being, they don't feel welcome, they don't feel, that you value them, then they will go to your competitors, obviously. And instead of the customers taking care of your business, which takes care of the owners and the owners' personal goals, so that you can have a business that fund your lifestyle instead of you substituting in the business, right? So you see those opposite things happening where people go into a business to fund the personal life that they want, but then they end up working so hard and instead the business is running them, right? And so when you think of having a strong team, you're thinking also of strong leadership. Number one is about that leadership, and it's you. Are you growing? A business is at the level of its owners. So are you developing your leadership skills? Are you leading where you're allowing people also to be heard of? And when you talk about leadership, are you the one who, sits back in the back end and watch everybody do everything? How can you be someone who participate and help them along the line so that they understand they have somebody with them? Do you share the goals? Some of the business owners that I've met, and I ask them, what is the goal for this company? And they're like, okay, it's in their head, and they will say it. So I ask, does your team know what they're working for? And they're saying no, that we don't share those information. But then how would your team be able to come on board with you and row that boat in the direction that you want to go if they don't know where they're going? So share those goals with them where they're going, and so that you get them to buy into your vision and your mission and these goals. Then what are the rules that you're going to play by? What are those values that you hold very dear and that the company holds dear? Are you going to operate in a disrespectful way? Customer comes in and we can easily strew our teeth when we talk to them. What are the culture like in your company so that your team knows about it and they practice it and they live it? But if you don't share those things with them and you don't set the culture that you want to see happening, people will do anything. They speak disrespectfully if you have respect as one of your values and they don't know that. And then when they speak to each other, maybe the team members, when they speak to each other, they maybe curse or abuse each other. Is that, being respectful? So what are those rules that they must play by? And is there an action plan? Well, an action plan in a simple term is who does what by when. And having that in place helps everyone to streamline, okay, who's responsible for and what exactly are they responsible. It must be very smart that specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and with a time frame. The time frame is by when must it be done, right? So what's the action plan for, what is the plan for this quarter? What is the plan for the year? Does the team knows that? And do they know what they're responsible for? Do you support risk taking as a leader? Do you allow the team also to be part of your decision making? Do you allow them to lead in certain projects? Do you, or is it that you micromanage everything? How do you also allow risk taking and calculated risk, I will say too. So, and the last part of the keys to a winning team is 100% involvement in inclusion. If you have people on your team that are not participating, part of your job to get to a winning team is that everybody must be involved. You call them out and ask them for their participation. Sometimes the person who is not speaking is the one that has the best idea. And because you just didn't ask, or no one asked that person, they never shared anything. So get everyone involved and included in everything so that they feel part of the team.
Yeah.
One major, I would say, tool that every business owner, every team player, I think everyone should know is DISC, D-I-S-C, and it's talk about when you understand we are different, right? Every one of us are wired differently, and therefore we will communicate differently. And this goes even in your home, that you might have a high D or a high I, high S, or a high C person in your family. And mind you, all of us have all of these qualities, I would say, in us. And some of us are more outgoing, some of us are more reserved. And typically the idea I people are more outgoing. You'll see these people are good, leaders on projects. They work good under pressure, but they also can come across like the idea, especially as people who are very arrogant. And a high S or C might take that as an offense. So this here, it's maybe an extra 3-4 hour teaching on DISC. But just to give you an understanding, your team members are, differently wired, and you need people with all 4 of these profiles on your team, so that you understand when you're hiring to how to DISC the job description before you even hire the person. You DISC the person and then you match them with the job description. So the high I and the high S are more people oriented, and the B's and the C's are more task oriented. Everything about them is about the work, the results. The I and the S wants to make sure that everybody, the I is having fun, and that the S is everybody is, okay and taken care of. So when you understand this here, you understand, your team members, understand your families too, why they behave certain way. But remember one thing, that your profile is not to be used as an excuse. Not because you're a D, you treat people and you speak arrogantly, but how do you learn? The whole idea is how do you able to treat people the way they want to be treated, and we call it the platinum rule. Treat them the way they want to be treated. So it's about you adjusting yourself to be able to communicate with that person, and then you will have such a great communication with all your team members, because now you understand them. And as they get to know this too, they understand you, they understand their team, the other team members, and they understand the customers, because now they're able to identify who, if I'm dealing with an I, how do I adjust myself to go at their pace? How do I communicate with them? So learning that, I will even suggest, if you want more information, contact us, and you can also be part of our DISC training when that's coming up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Coach Shanti. And for those persons who are out there listening, DISC, the D is for dominant, I is for influential or influencers, the S is for the steady type, and the C is for the conscientious type. It's very, very, it's a great, fantastic tool for you to have, for you to learn about, for you to use, especially as a business owner. for you to understand your team, and even for individuals. We've uh, had many persons tell us how this has been really helpful to even their personal relationships. So this is very key. Then we also have ActionCOACH as another tool that we use when it comes to assessing team members. ActionCOACH is a behavioral assessment that gives you a more in-depth analysis of why we are and why we behave the way we behave. We have Dr. Vishnu and Coach Prem. They are ActionCOACH coaches. And I think Dr. Vishnu would like to share a bit more on this.
Yeah, Kian. So this is one of the tools that I really absolutely love. You have when I was first introduced to it over 2 years ago, I realized that by doing this test, you can actually understand about 49 behaviors, which would otherwise take over a year to understand about someone. So a very, test takes about 20 minutes, but it gives the person a lot of clarity and is black and white, right? They can see exactly how they compare against the global population, and also why the behavior that they currently have is either helping them, and it must have helped them to some extent, but why some of their behavior is also hurting them and not allowing them to get to the next level. So we actually have a session on this coming up next Monday at 6 o'clock. So anyone who is interested in delving deeper in this, make sure that you attend that. But this is a tool that we use with everyone that we work with.
Thank you very much, Doc. So we are now to the peak of our ladder as we're moving up, and this is where we're now able to get the synergy and the results. And this speaks about having the ability to invest in other businesses, open other branches. So it's at this point of synergy and results, we can now install a GM and actually put the business on autopilot because it is now functioning the way we want to, and we're able to receive passive income. It is Richard Branson who said if you can learn to run one business successfully, then there's no reason you can't run any number of businesses at the same time. The principles are still the same. And the techniques, strategies, and tools that you will learn from working with a coach, you can apply them to any or multiple of your businesses that you may have. Jim Rohn, a very good, great philosopher when it comes to business and personal growth. He says, never wish your life were easier, wish you were better, which means work harder than yourself than you do on your job. The better you get, the more ideas you can generate to grow your business. So you don't want to be the limit of your business growth. Brad Sugars, one of the funds, he says, where you'll be in 5 years will depend on the books you read, the people you associate with, and more importantly, the actions you take. So when we're working with our clients, this is Mr. Andre Cummins. The actions that they take will give you the results that you're looking for. Andre has been a client now for over 3 years, and you will be surprised by the quality of products that are generating right here in Guyana, being manufactured right here in Guyana. And Andre is the owner of Cummins Wood Products or Florid Guyana. You can check them out on Facebook. Really beautiful, exotic, elegant hardwood flooring. You will never believe that that is locally produced and every aspect from our local hardwood. There are two directions you can go, ladies and gentlemen. You can go back and try to improve your business on your own. You've gotten lots of tips here this evening. Or if you're really interested in massive results, I'm going to tell you what your options are. So just to get a basic understanding of business coaching, it is a business apprenticeship where we work with you to grow your existing business. So it gives you more profits, which means you get bigger reward on your investment. And we customize or tailor how we deliver knowledge to you. So it is tailored to what you need to learn. And of course, it helps you to grow. And knowledge is something that nobody cannot take away from you. By working with your business coach, we can help you with more cash flow, more profits, of course, improving or enhancing your team that can get you more free time to do the things that you always wanted to do and that will give you the joy that you're looking for. So you can choose to invest in your future starting as low as having access to our client portal, which goes for $10,000 per month. We have our Gold Club, which is once per quarter, every 90 days. And that is where business owners come together. They take one day out of the 90 days, and they plan for the future of their business. You can also attend our Business Rich session. This is held on demand, and the access to this, the investment for this is just $79,000, where we have a 2-day workshop, high intensity, geared towards helping you um, have structure for your business, and of course, putting ideas that you can use to help to grow your business. Most of our business owners go through what we call our Action Club. Our Action Club is like a mini NBA that uh, gives you the business principles, and you get to apply them in a very practical manner. It is stretched out over a 3.5 to 4 months period where you get to learn the concept, you go back, you put it into practice, you implement it, you get to test it for about a week, 2 weeks, and then you come back and you report on how it has worked, and we determine how do we need to improve it to move forward. For Action Club, you get access to books, information, materials that you get to keep that can help you to educate your other team members as well. We have run Action Club for many organizations. We've probably taken close to 300 businesses through our Action Club program. It's really, really helpful in terms of having that business structure in place. Our Action Club curriculum includes setting your vision. This is looking at your vision, mission statement, your culture. We then look at generating cash flow, which means ensuring that you identify your marketing techniques that you can use. Also, what makes you unique and how can you start attracting your ideal customers. We're going to look at sales aspect of the business or of the company so that you can understand the science behind selling, so you can improve the way that you sell. We're going to look at team building and leadership. How do you start developing an effective team, especially I define the 6 keys to a winning team. We go so much more in depth with that. We look at the systems that you need to have. How do you develop the systems? How do you make sure they're implemented? And of course, they're followed. And then we bring it all together with leveraging. We have our graduation, and this is usually something that most persons look forward to, where they're able to really talk about their journey through the Action Club program and how it has really helped them to grow. For most of the business owners out there, we work with them on a one-on-one basis, and this can be either face-to-face or via Zoom. We know that COVID-19 is here, so most of our sessions are now done via Zoom, and this starts from our monthly program of Mentor Club, which is $87,360, and can go all the way up to our Freedom Coaching program. And it all depends on the business, the capability of the business, and how fast do you want to grow your business. That will depend on the program that you're going to recommend for you. Tiger Woods put this very nicely. He says, no matter how tough you think you are, you can't do this on your own. Tiger Woods is one of the best golfers in the world. Yet still, he has more than one coaches who help him with his game, from his swing to his nutrition to his putting. He has different coaches. So I can guarantee you that 12 months from today, you would have arrived. The real question is where? Are you still going to be in a position where you're stressed and frustrated over your business? Or are you going to be in a position where you're working on the business and the business is working without you? Brad Sugar says, you know you've made a good decision when it brings up either fear or excitement. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is your decision. This evening, we have a very special offer for you. We're going to send you the business background questionnaire, soft copy. Once you fill up your questionnaire and we receive it within 24 hours, we are going to get a complimentary 1 to 2 hour session with one of our coaches. And our team, one of our team members will be sending this to you to make sure that you can fill it up as best as you can. If you need more information, you can email info@actioninvest.org to make sure that you get your copy. So once you send that email to info@actioninvest.org, you can put the subject line, business background questionnaire. Our team members will send that questionnaire to you. This is one of the ways rather we kind of separate the persons who want to move forward from the persons who just like staying where they are. Taking action. Take action by sending an email to info@actioninvest.org to get your copy of the business background questionnaire. So thank you guys for tuning in. We love to have any questions that you may have. Our coaches are here to respond to the questions. We know that we had indicated 7 to 9. We're just around the 9 o'clock hour. So we will take just about 5 questions to see if we can wrap it up. And Coach Vishnu can indicate if there are any questions from our social media platforms or any questions from in our chat.
Yes, yeah. I just would have asked in the chat if there are any questions, or you can also share your biggest takeaway. What did you really take away from this evening, and any questions that you have as well. Social media, there are mainly comments about the presentation itself. No questions.
No questions. Usually, teacher always says if you have no questions, it means you are really clear.
Yeah, Prem spoke with so much passion about the importance of consistency.
Excellent. So can we
one of the things I wanted to ask our participants, or the ones who are out there, you want this is 6 steps, right? But I want to ask you, what do you want? This is the 6 steps to what? What do you want? You want a 6 steps to a better life? You want a 6 steps to a better business? What is that thing that you want? If you can put it in the chat box, you can put it in the comments, then we can have a discussion on it. All right. But once you have identified that, you can be able now to, bring it in out of your head into reality. So I must encourage you to think about that and put it out there. Over to you, Ken.
Yeah, you do have a question there in the chat box, if you're able to see that.
Can you share it with me, please? Just a moment.
Right, so Malika is asking do you provide guidance on importing items and avoiding being scammed when shopping online? So one of the first business I started back in February 2000, 20 years ago, was actually a distribution business. And with the distribution business, we actually imported from all over the world, US, Trinidad, China, India, and Keon actually as well. 5 years ago when he joined, he actually practiced quite a bit on our distribution business to understand how it all fits together. I know that Coach Shanti as well, with her background from Sylvie's industrial solution, is also very familiar importing internationally. I think Coach Prem as well is a shareholder in a company that does quite a bit of imports as well, that provides services. So all coaches have a significant amount of experience, and we do provide guidance. But it is very important that we sit and work with your specific business to see exactly is your supply chain, as optimal as it could be? So are you really getting the right items that the market really demands, competitive prices in a timely manner? So, and then if it is yes, how do we make sure that that gets streamlined? Are you actually the official representative of the product that you're importing? Because many people are actually in a situation where they import, and when it gets to a decent level, somebody else goes and actually gets the brand. I think that's one of the biggest ways in which we also make sure that our clients really become much stronger by being sole distributors for the products that they are importing. So when it comes to that question, there's a ton of support.
Additionally to that question as well, you got to look at your uniqueness. I think this Coach Kian talked about innovation and being able to make sure that when the product that you are offering is not a commodity, but an innovation or something that is different in the market, something that would bring value as well. So Malika, you can consider that as well as you seek to build your business.
And just finally, make sure that you're ordering from a credible source. Don't just get caught up with videos that you see online. Just make sure that the source you're ordering from is very credible, so that you can ensure that you don't get scammed when you're ordering online. Is there any other question, Dr. Richmond?
No, so like I said, thank you. And again, if there are any other questions that are coming, we will ensure that we also answer them, especially if they're on the social media stream. Everyone in the Zoom chat, we will be sending you the business background questionnaire. I would like to thank you for making sure that you invested this time in your education. And if you're really serious in terms of you have no risk. You fill out the business background questionnaire. We'll sit with you. If you have potential, so if you are coachable as a youth, if we understand that you really have the ability to grow a lot more and you want to, and your business as well has the financial potential to really grow, then we will offer to work with you to figure out which program is going to get you the biggest return on your investment. And if it's not the case, if we figure out that maybe you're not really that serious, or the business you've chosen is really one that has no uniqueness, maybe is a copy of what everybody does. Maybe you're taking it on more as a hobby than a business. You'll have some tough decisions you have to make. We'll give you some advice, but we may not be able to offer to work with you, because what we do want is that you have the results of having more time for yourself, smaller running business. Those are the type of things that we look at delivering, and we've delivered for over 5 years to many businesses across Guyana.
Mm-hmm. So thank you very much, Dr. Vishnu. Thank you all who have tuned in as well. Thank you to our coaches for also investing the time to share your knowledge with our Zoom participants, and of course all the persons who are viewing on our social media platforms. I would like everyone to stay safe, and you guys can still send your questions in via social media as well, and we will be responding. Have a good night and stay safe.
Bye. So is it, so for the ones in the Zoom room, our could you put in a chat box how many of you are business owners and how many of you are looking to start up a business?